Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial. This will be board number 109 from Opening Tabia by Master Wenqing and Grandmaster Zhang. Today we will be going over a very important variation in the central cannon versus sandwich horse defense. It's called the central cannon with double pawn sacrifice variation versus the sandwich horse defense. And please, you must pay attention to this video because presents a very major turn in the development or evolution of this opening system. So without further ado, let us begin. Central cannon, horse defense, third pawn advancement variation. Black counters likewise. Red moves the horse to the edge file, and black could play e7 plus 5 for a more balanced development of the material on the board. In this board, red would counter with c8 equals to 7 for the 5-7 cannons. Now when attacking the sandwich horse defense, the 5-6 cannons and the 5-7 cannons are perhaps the most commonly utilized and variations in tournaments today. Okay, r1 equals to 2, r9 equals to 8, 4 to form a blockade and prevent, slow down, impede red's left flank from developing. This one. Would play p7 plus 1 to deny black the opportunity to capture the central pawn and also attack the horse with this pawn sacrifice. Now this would be a very important measure. Black captures and red sacrifices yet another pawn to attack. Now this pawn cannot advance. Otherwise it will be captured. Now by sacrificing this another pawn, red intends to push the chariot to the riverbank and put black in a dilemma. Now this very early pawn sacrifice is basically considered to be advantageous to red. So black captures, red pushes the chariot to the riverbank, now thus forcing black's hand. If it moved, h9 plus 7 capture it. So red's earlier pawn sacrifice would be a pseudo sacrifice in this sense. And by sacrificing both pawns, horses are ready to go. Red would have a very open formation, so this would basically be sacrificing pawns to gain a spatial advantage. Now this is a very important variation as mentioned earlier, and this would be the position of discussion for this board. So at this point in time, two major variations will be discussed. The first would be c2 equals to 3 and the second will be 3 equals to 2. So all will lead to very complicated scenarios, so please bear in mind. Now variation A, c2 equals to 3, black traverses the cannon to force the trade of chariots. So usually red would refuse and back off a little bit at this point in time. This is a brilliant move in this sense, although it will appear that red would lose tempo. Now what would happen if red captured the chariot, accepted the trade? Now first check, and now the cannon will be protecting the pawn. h3 minus 2, c5 plus 4, a6 plus 5, red treats the cannon to safety. Otherwise there's always the possibility of black launching a discovered attack by moving the cannon away. h2 plus 3. Now both colors would have their scruples, but at this point in time black would have a pawn that crossed the river. So this is a very complicated situation. So by moving the chariot in, the chariot could still protect the elephant, and even though the chariot there was a loss of tempo, but this black chariot would not have any good intersections for further development at this time. So c6 plus 4, black would now add a lot of pressure on red's pawn rank. Cannons would now be linked and thus not be to by advancing the cannons will be linked so that red cannot capture the black cannon. So red will now retreat, capture the pawn, the offending pawn, and try to be prepared to gain material. The horse would also be pinned in this manner. So the only way for black to play would be to play h4 such that the horse will now be protecting the cannon. So two pieces protecting this cannon against red would abandon will try to keep things simple with this move. Now if he played p5 plus 1 such that the cannons will now not be linked, black will be prepared to sacrifice material. 3 plus 1, red will dot there to allow the cannon to capture. 5. Black sacrifices the cannon. Back. And this would be a complicated situation. Red would have the material advantage, but black would be attacking, and black would be prepared to capture the horse and then push his chariot forward, etc. as one possibility to attack, and those pieces are much more in the open. So this would be a very complicated situation. Okay, black moves for h4 plus 2. Trade on material. 3. Black retreats the cannon to safety. Now this is a sound move. R2 plus 6 would not be a good idea because red would play a7 6 to deny the cannon attack and be prepared to capture the advisor for a kill. Black must defend, but in doing so, red will now pin these two pieces and black will be all sorts of trouble. Red could then take his time to maneuver material to gain material. Red would not have to worry about black capturing the cannon because red could capture the cannon and this chariot will still be protected by the horse over here. 1, a6 plus 5. To draw first blood. And at this point in time, red would have the offensive and it would be dead. Black would have the 2 point edge, but his chariot has yet to be developed while red was already attacking. So there are many things for black to do. He could retreat, capture, and then attack, or move over here to threaten the pawn, etc. etc. So red will have an easier time, but black's 2 pawn advantage cannot be neglected. This will be variation A. In variation B, variation B, p3 plus 2, which is my preferred way of playing this position. Black travels the pawn so that I could keep his pressure on this file and go wait for the opportunity to counter attack. Now this countermeasure was to dampen red's attack or stave off his impending onslaught. Red would usually play p9 plus 1 so that the horse would be prepared to capture the pawn. Or black protects the 8, correct choice. Now if black chose to capture the pawn with the horse, then this cannon still cannot capture the black cannon, and now black would be threatening to capture the elephant at the same time. If the horse moves, the chariot will protect the cannon. So and black would now develop his chariot for further attack. The cannons are linked, and this would be a major issue for red to handle to deal with at this point in time. Material, black does not allow red to develop his horse. A good move. It's a move to fight for initiative. If he chose to play h3 plus 2, okay, p5 plus 1, the cannons would not be linked. Or black tries to protect, h7 plus 7, and black would red will force a trade of material, and after trading material, black's chariot will still be undeveloped, while red will now be attacking furiously flank, which is relatively protected. Which is plus 7. Red sacrifices the elephant for attack. Now, if he chose to play e3 plus 1, black's counter will be fast and powerful. He will play h3 plus 2, c2 equals to 6, and black can handle the situation calmly. This also prevent red from playing h8 plus 7, and also if black would now be prepared to develop his chariot, and the pressure on this flank is perhaps much greater than the pressure that these three pieces are applying on this flank. Then red this move and attacks the horse. C3. This was given in the book, but that black could have fared better with e5 plus 3. Hence, this would trap the horse. It cannot move. Its attack will be halted. Anyway, c7 plus 3 was given. 5, c2 equals to 3 to threaten, to prevent the red cannon from capturing the horse. 5, red sacrifices. It's not a sacrifice actually, but red will gain an elephant in the exchange, but black will counter likewise. And at this point in time, although red would have lost both elephants, but he will now be attacking this very empty flank and much better in the development of the material. The chariot is already threatening the horse, etc. And once the pawn, black will be deep trouble because he will be faster than black on this flank. So this is a very important. This position is a very important variation. There are still many other variations that were studied in other books, but nevertheless, I think this summary is quite good. And please go through the board many times to understand or appreciate the depth of the moves. So maybe a quick summary. Okay, central cannon. 5-7 cannons. Black plays R1 equals to 2. Pushes the cannon across the river to attack, and now red will sacrifice both pawns. Get to this position of discussion. Now this would be the famous double pawn sacrifice variation of the central cannon when taking on the defense. Again, c2 equals to 3 and p3 equals to 2. Very complicated, but it will appear c2 equals to 3 is not so ideal because red could simply ignore trading chariots and move back to its corner. If it traded, black would have his chances of attacking. 6 plus 4. Again, after trading material, black retreats his cannon to safety. Now, goes to 6 is not a good idea because red could threaten to checkmate, forcing black's hand, and then pin and be prepared to gain material. A 2 equals to 2. very important move. In fact, this is perhaps the most important move for black to link the cannons up on the pawn. E9 equals to 8 is not good. Black will be allowed to develop material for attack. And a correct move after trading material. Black continues to apply pressure. The pawn advantage is still significant. Threaten the horse. Check. But better move might be 5 plus 3, sorry. The horse does not have any place good to move. Faster and be better in this position. So I hope you've enjoyed today's slightly long video. If you like the work that I've been doing, please do subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you.